Hi, this is Ashley Swartz. I'm CEO and founder of Furious Minds, here for Beat TV at DMEXCO in Cologne. I have the pleasure of being accompanied by Alex Rahaman, CEO of StrikeAd, which is a mobile DSP platform. Alex, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the business, what you're doing in Europe right now, and where you're sort of, I believe, expanding in the near future, and tell us about where the growth is.
Absolutely, yeah. So I founded StrikeAd a couple of years ago to sort of solve a problem that a lot of mobile buyers were lacking tracking and transparency in their mobile media buys. So my idea with StrikeAd was not to make a small market more efficient, but actually try to grow the market by giving people confidence to invest into mobile media.
And could you, I know you're getting ready to open your office in New York, congratulations. Could you talk a little bit, if we just start specifically on mobile and the mobile advertising marketplace, the differences between the European market and the US, specifically from a maturity perspective?
Sure. Mobile in Europe has been a little bit more advanced, historically so. So people used to text earlier and mobile content grew as an industry. So it became a larger market segment in Europe than it did in the US. But like a lot of things, the US picks up fast. So it's actually very quickly overtaken in size the European mobile ad market. And actually, they overtook Japan now as to become the largest mobile advertising market in the world. So it's a very exciting place to be.
What, if you just had to guess, what percentage of mobile advertising in Europe right now is bought through some type of DMP or supply side or demand side platform?
Mobile advertising is interesting as an ecosystem because they didn't really have the 800-pound gorilla publishers in mobile like you do on the web. So you have a number of small app developers and websites, mobile websites developed specifically for mobile that most people in the street wouldn't have heard of. So what happened was the ad networks would aggregate all these sites into an ad network. But as well as that, there were these companies that would aggregate all these sites and apps and become effectively exchanges without realizing they were an exchange. So there is actually a large amount of exchange-traded mobile media amongst mobile ad networks, and I'm effectively tapping into that and adding transparency by, one, adding RTB to the buy, and two, showing full transparency of where the sites and the apps are that your ads are showing.
And right now, I know you're sort of in early stages of entering the New York market with your first office there in the US, but do you think that US is going to catch up as far as their use of trading desks and RTB for mobile? We did display first, now we're talking about video. Mobile seems like it's a bit away. Do you think the curve is going to be steep, or is it a ways away?
It's an interesting one because the trading desks have a point of difference. They can collect audience data and create DMPs that are of value to the entire group. And there's a scale benefit of doing that, scale and operational and performance benefit. Mobile's slightly different because the cookie's not as consistent on apps and mobile web. So a trading desk might say, well, what's my edge? What can I do to be different in mobile? That's changing. So StrikeAd has a StrikeAd ID we're launching that is persistent. We can recognize users and create an audience profile around users. As that matures, and we're now starting to work with DMPs that can give us external third-party data on users, we start to catch up with the web, and the trading desks really see that as the tipping point where they can really make their difference in mobile.
Do you think mobile is going to win as far as the percentage of total dollars spent being the largest that flows through an automated buying mechanism or selling mechanism, or do you think it's going to be video or display?
It's interesting because it's not really that much of a branding channel. I mean, it is, and we have a partner here, Celtro, who have some very interesting interactive ad units, and you can buy audiences. But ultimately, you do things with your phone. You go to places and you call people and things like that. So there is a lot of interactivity. As a result, you're in a place. You've registered some sort of intent. We know something about you. You really want to buy that person straight away. So it's really suited to real-time bidding. The match of location with what you know about someone is made for RTB and mobile.
I know you're also making some investments and expanding as a company beyond the US as well. Can you tell me a little about where you're heading in the next 12 months?
Sure, yeah. We've opened an office in Singapore to cover the Southeast Asian market. We have a partnership with a Japanese agency, and we've now onboarded a large amount of Japanese language supply for that market. And the US, has been a success story so far. We've got 15 people in New York. We've been trading for about 9 months. We have some license deals, some direct deals, and it's going well so far.
Great. Well, congratulations, and thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.